right, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you this Thursday evening about 8:45, not quite. I have got a very special guest tonight to talk about a very cool Kickstarter. Sir, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and what Kickstarter project you are helping with.
Hey guys, this is Christoph from the developers of Atlas Rise or Die from the Old Mages Games team, and I'm here to talk about today our new Kickstarter project. We are our campaign is about to finish, and it's called Atlas Rise or Die, a vintage sword and sorcery game, and I'm really happy to be here, and throw me anything you want to. I'll try to handle.
Awesome, Christoph. Thank you so much. So, Christoph just joined our server. It helps if I look at the camera. And what's your Discord handle? It's Cybrain? Is that how you say it?
It's Siberian, or you can just call me Cyber.
Cyber, okay.
It's unrelated to Atlas Rise or Die. That's my other
right, because you Twitch, right? Yeah, I do Twitch. I want to see a Twitch link down in the chat there too, so people can go.
It's the same name, so you can find me there.
Sweet, man. So you'll notice Christoph has a little bit of a wee accent. Christoph, where are you actually from?
I'm actually from Hungary, so as the rest of the developers, but I'm living in the United States, and well, luckily it's almost the same time zone. Otherwise, we would have a hard time talking, right?
Yeah, really. So let's get into this, man. I told you I was going to pick on you a little bit because one of the only concern I have with this Kickstarter is the funding goal. It seems really high, and I'm going to pick on you, and it's not in malice. It's just I want your input, and I know you may not have all the solid answers, but you guys are sitting at 22.5 right now, which is great. You're asking 34.9, so almost 35,000. So you're about 14 grand away, or so 13.5 grand away. So it's close. You've got 6 days to go, so you got just short of a week. It's actually very doable. A lot of Kickstarters show a very high peak in the last 3 days of the Kickstarter. So we're hoping, because I know me and some of the other meanies, all of my followers on my YouTube channel are called meanies, and we are the Horde. That's right. Thank you, brother. Much love. But I'm going to pick on you here, and again, it's not in malice. It's just this is an observation. So I'm looking at the Savage Worlds, Pinnacle Entertainment's Pathfinder Kickstarter. Two very well-known companies, large market share. And they are doing a Savage Worlds conversion of Pathfinder with their new Suede edition, and they came in the gate asking $8 grand, and they closed out at 411,000. So pretty good, for only asking $8 grand. So obviously not bad. Now they're a bigger company. They have, obviously the same. Ulysses Spiel, huge German company. They do The Dark Eye. They do Fading Suns. They do a card game that's very popular over in Europe. And then, of course, they got the license to Fading Suns. And they came in, asking 20,000, which a lot of people thought was really high. And, of course, they cleared 162,000 with exactly 1,000 backers. So, again, very well-known company. Low entry point for a well-known IP. And then we have Coyote and Crow. I'm part Native American, if you've watched the channel at all. So this project is very near and dear to my heart. They came in, unknown company, never published an RPG before, new to the market. They came in asking 18 grand, and everyone thought, you're never going to make it, And they whopped in with over 1 million. So, it shows you that the little guy can do it. So my question to you is, why such a high goal to start? Do you know? I mean, have you guys talked about it? Was there any concern amongst a group of, you guys are asking for almost $35,000 and you're kind of unknown in the industry, right?
Yes, this is a really, really good question, and I will answer at the best of my knowledge. I joined to the team in January. I think it originally was 5 guys or 6 guys, and then one of my old friend, who actually the first developer, he asked me to help them out, multiple reasons. I love the project. I used to play RPGs all the time, and when I joined, I started to do the marketing, and we are all new to Kickstarter, so this is our first Kickstarter, as you mentioned, and to be honest, there are multiple factors here. One is that if I would start again, I would start with a lower goal. and one of the issues that we had, that we realized when we actually started the Kickstarter, the live Kickstarter, is that the dollar is doing really badly these days. So this is a UK-based company, and we are using pounds. And when we realized how much is it in dollars, we are talking about 25,000 pounds, right? And if you convert that in dollars, that's a $35,000 American dollar, and it's indeed, to me, it's a little bit high. Although if you think about that, a lot of companies that are aiming for a smaller amount has already enough money to, let's say, back their own project, half of it, and then they just need a little bit to finish the shipment or to finalize the book. In our case, we spent approximately 4 years already on this project, and a lot of money went on earlier marketing, the artwork, which is, I think it's amazing.
It's amazing,
and
yeah.
We would like to make sure that all those people who invested their time and effort will get paid. So if we will reach that goal, we will not get anything out of it. We will be sitting on enough money that we could
right. Pay back your investors.
Yes, and I think in this fast developing world, if we make the $35,000, that's, as a first new Kickstarter, that's amazing. If we are not, we learned a lot from it, and then we will take away all those suggestions that all these amazing backers told us. Change the pledges. This was our first Kickstarter, and we had to start somewhere. So by now we realized what pledges people are aiming for or what add-on they need. So I would say yes, this is a little bit high as a starting Kickstarter project, but I think we can make it. And you mentioned a little bit that usually the first 3 days is where I think average 33% of the backers come, and then the middle is like around like 50, another 20-30% at the end. So it's not impossible, and I think we are rolling these days. So hopefully we can make it. We'll hope the best, and we learn from our mistakes. So
yeah, well, I think you guys are off to a rip roaring start. I like I said, my concern is that the entry level is high. I actually think your pledge levels are pretty good, to be honest. I think for what you're offering, you don't have a ton of stretch goals that you're not going to be able to meet. They seem doable. I've seen a lot of companies that pledge. They have all these pledges, and then they have 100 stretch goals, and then when the project funds, they run out of money because they don't have the money to pay the artist. And we all know in the RPG world, art is king. Layout and art are your two biggest expenses because the creativity is there. The concept of the game is in the designer's head. You've play tested it. You've got it working. You're happy with it. Now you're ready to go to market, and that's where Kickstarter comes in, because you're looking for help financially to fund this. So obviously here at the Mr. Mean channel, we're going to do everything we can to help promote the game and get people interested in it as best we can.
The other thing we figured to, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. Go. I'm a notorious interrupter, so after
so am I.
So one other thing we realized that we could help us pushing these goals is that usually when you have a stretch goal, it's after the project gets funded, and if you have more fundings, you unlock the stretch goals. But we started to do the pre-launch or pre-funding stretch goals. So we have already I think 3 or 4 before we get funded if we reach those, and we have a lot after. And I understand if a project is it looks more like it's going to get funded, or it's already funded, people love to back more, or they feel more comfortable backing.
Yeah.
But this is something personally I don't really agree with this how do you say it, Kickstarter politics or Kickstarter strategy that I only back a game if it's going to get funded, right? Because if you pledge us, if you back us, but it's not going to get funded, you will get the money back. Right. So I would rather just back a game that I truly like, instead of surfing and looking at something that is already backed. But that's just my point.
Well, and remember, Kickstarter doesn't take any funds until it actually funds, right? So if you hit your 35,000 goal, then that money, they'll collect the funds. Takes about 2 weeks, for the company, in your guys' case, for you guys to get the money, and then at that point, you start reaching out to your printers and everything, to get everything finalized. Hopefully, you've got all that networked and nailed down. You know what printer you're going to use. You know where they're coming from. You know what ship it's probably going to be on. All that stuff, which is very important stuff. And I don't know how many Kickstarters you've backed, but shame to my wife's chagrin, I've backed far too many. One of the things I can tell you is silence is death. Backers, have given you, pledged their 60, 70, 80, 100, $200. And one of the biggest pet peeves and biggest complaints that I've seen from every Kickstarter I've backed is silence from the designers. No updates.
I can't imagine nothing. Thank you for the backers and not updating you. For example, we have a couple people who already backed one of the highest pledge as well, to get into the book with an artwork. And, this is really complex. And you can see 4 sentences about the pledge. But if you actually, pledge us, there is a lot to discuss, and after follow-up questions, how do you want your character? What, the outlook will be. So I think that's one of the major things that I believe we are doing amazing job with on a Kickstarter, is that everyone who backs us, we talk with them, we ask for their feedback. With the backers from our own country, we already talked about having multiple Zoom meetings, translating the game to our own language, because first of all, it's going to be English, but there are so many complaints that why the game won't be Hungarian as well. So I think we are doing amazingly with that, and with all the fulfillment and the press stuff, it's really challenging and hard, but you will not start your Kickstarter until you make sure that these are set in stone. So we made sure that everything will work out. We can ship really cheaply. One of our developers actually works in the press, as it's written on the Kickstarter. So we have all these advantages. We just have to get to the funding goal, and then I'm not saying we're going to lay back and enjoy the money, because now we're going to start working even more harder, but I think we're on the right path right now.
Yeah. So let's say in a perfect world, the Kickstarter funds. Is there a plan, or is there talks of follow-up books that might go to Kickstarter or go direct to retail? I mean, is the game going to be supported after this initial book?
Yes. So if you go on the Kickstarter, or anyone who's interested to read about that, I think it's the really end of the Kickstarter wall. So Atlas Rise or Die is just the first setting, the first era, if you will. And we are planning on 4 actually. So Atlas Rise or Die would be this vintage Swords and Sorcery, barbaric land, and then we would have a steampunk, a pirate setup. We would have an apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic world after that. So we are trying to show Atlas is the world, right? Yeah. And then we're trying to show different times and different eras of this world.
That's awesome.
So it will be all connected. So this is our first Kickstarter.
If I read it correctly, it's going to use the same mechanics for all 4 verses, right? So you're going to have a multiversal game, so to speak, where you could take your sword and sorcery guy and put him in a pirate setting, and the mechanics would pretty much work the same, correct?
Yes, you would obviously have different classes and different magic,
but the base mechanics will work. Yeah.
Yes, this is one of the things we wanted to make sure that it will work, but this is the long-term goal. Obviously, we are not, what's the word? You should you should learn how to walk before you.
You should learn how to crawl before you walk. There you go. It's perfect, man. So, art is king, right? Layout is king, and the preview you have up looks amazing. I personally am a huge Dio fan, so when you watch the Kickstarter video and you hear Ronnie James Dio, belting out, that was just, to me, the perfect song to intro this game for its setting, and I just love the intro video and the music. I think it's solid. But it looks like you guys put a lot of time and effort into the art, and I know that's probably 60 to 70% of the cost of the book, right, is paying the artist, especially if you have good art. And I'm telling you guys, all my meanies out there, go back this Kickstarter, because the art is phenomenal. It looks really, really good, and I can't wait to see what the post-apocalyptic art looks like, because that's one of my favorite settings. So I don't suppose you'll do a superhero setting just for Mr. Mean, but if you do, hey, I'm there for you.
I think you already said that before, that 2 things has to be good for an RPG game, right? You have to have an amazing art, and you have to have a good story. I think you might not say that exactly, but
layout,
I
but yeah.
Layout. In order to feel that this is a real story or a real RPG, or in order to feel the session is good and you enjoy the game, you have to connect with your hero, right?
Yeah.
And there's 2 things that can help you with your imagination, and then what's in front of you on a picture.
Yeah.
So that's why every backer who backs us, no matter how much they back, it can be as little as £2, they will get an artwork bundle. All of our artwork that we posted on Instagram, Facebook, or wallpaper, everything, videos will be delivered to you. So if you want to put it into Roll20, or you just want to look at that, or you want to put it on your wall, and I feel like we are doing amazingly with the artwork, just like you said, and I appreciate you guys like it. But another thing is that if you just post a picture, I mean, it's good, it's great, but there's no story behind the picture. Always.
Need some substance.
Yes, and we are trying to do that in a way that we fill the book with a bunch of stories, a little pieces from the everyday life in Atlas, and I think that can connect the reader much more if you have a story, a couple sentences. When we post on Facebook, we always have a story of a character or something taken out from the world of Atlas, and that I think helps a lot with players understanding the mechanics of the game.
So far, everything that I've seen, it does look really. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a coffee table book, if you understand that phrase. It just means it's so pretty. You would put it on your coffee table so other people could see it. And I honestly feel that it's going in that direction, which is a good thing. But you got to have mechanics behind it. So how long has the game been in playtest? How thorough do you feel the mechanics have been tested? Do you feel that at this point in time this is a rock solid game? People are going to buy this book and they're going to be able to dive in and play it if they've never played an RPG before. Do you feel confident that that's a goal you can achieve?
I think we are feeling pretty confident with almost all of the core, the basics, the rules, and one of the major things with an RPG is that making sure that all of the subsystems work coherently, right? Like everything, the magic works out with like the fight mechanics, the classes are not overpowered. Mm-hmm. So I think we are feeling pretty really well established on that level. We still have a couple minor tweaks, but we are not going to change anything major on the core book anymore. We went through a lot of play testing in a closed groups. So I just brought up to the team a couple weeks ago that if we get funded, we should definitely do an open testing and ask some people to come and check out more. We could host some Twitch play sessions. So I think we can make it
better.
Pretty bit better with having an open test, but I think we are good with all of these. And we had a couple podcasts before when we talked about the systems. I believe personally, just like all the other developers, that having the 2D10 system is much more simplified. To be honest, for me, it's much more interesting than a D20. We can talk another 20 minutes or 30 minutes about that, the differences between the two systems. But I know a lot of you guys who backed us or you're thinking to back us might think that I don't want to learn a new system. It's just too complicated. Let's just do the D&D system. And that's fine. If you don't want to try the 2D10, which is, to be honest, more simplified than D&D system, we made the whole game available for you, and then just ignore the 2D10 system, and then you can use a D&D system. It can fit perfectly into the E5, and then you can use that. So I think that's one of our major advantages.
Yeah, I really like that, because there is a lot of D&D fans. I mean, it's the number one RPG of all times, right? And and we all started there. If you're a grognard like me, grognard means old person. And yeah, so 5th edition, I'm not a huge fan of 5th edition, but I understand. Yeah, 3rd edition. Yeah, same. I'm 2nd edition, but I'm old. But there's good things out of everything, right? We learn, we grow, we adapt, and we take what we like and we throw away what we don't like. And what I'm seeing in your game is that there's a lot of adaptability. It's going to have a niche that is pretty well defined, and there's a lot of players in that category. We've got Pathfinder. We've got Pathfinder for Savage Worlds. We've got D&D. We've got all kinds of 5th edition variants. Everything from horror to superheroes. And I think, you say, oh, another rule system. But if you like that world, if you go read some of the primers and you look at the intro video on Kickstarter, it's a unique setting. And I think players and GMs will be rewarded with a very unique system and setting that they can make their own. And I think that for me as a GM, that's what I look for. I look for something unique that no other game has. And
do you want me to tell you in the 2 sentences why we choose the 2D10 system compared to the D20?
I think I already know why, but yeah, please tell me. Because it's better.
I'm not saying it's better.
I am.
All right, so that's better. Let's just say it's better.
Yeah.
No, to be honest, we didn't invent the 2D10 system. It was out. Just like, we didn't invent a lot of original concept and stories. We
Right.
just took whatever we liked and then forged together into a unique system that can work coherently. And with the 2D10 system, there are multiple things we try to aim for. One is that a lot of times when you play D&D, it takes forever to do one fight. The entire session is just one fight. The DM is all over the place. He just wants it to be over because there's someone who screwed up the fight because shot an arrow and it was a critical hit and then whatever. So
Yeah.
you have to do a bunch of math just to go through one round of fight. It can be a half an hour. With this 2D10 system, we also wanted to minimize the amount of calculations that the DMs and the players has to do in each round of combat. So we simplified a bunch of combat, which just makes the game more fluent, and you can go through more, catacombs or whatever you're fighting in. And then with the 2D10 system, you have higher chances of rolling dices around the middle numbers,
Right.
getting like 14, 13. And if you're a well-established warrior, you're supposed to hold that sword. You're not supposed to drop the sword in every second round. So you have less chance of roll a critical hit and less chance of roll a critical failure,
Right.
which we all know that's the most exciting time of the combat. But if you keep rolling the D on a D20, you keep rolling the hits, the high critical hits, then you lose this excitement. But when you use the 2D10 system, you have less chance. But when you roll that critical hit,
It
or critical
means
failure,
something.
you will feel the consequences of that.
Right.
And if you don't, you will roll the average rolls and you will be able to hit the target more often.
You're
So I
competent.
just feel like, it's just more, I would say it just feels more natural than always doing the 5% critical hit chance.
Right. And
Yeah,
critical
that's-
fumble
that's
chance,
what I
yeah.
think.
No. I think the 2D10 was a smart system in my opinion. But what do I know? I've only been doing this, for 30 years. So obviously, I'm a big dummy. But I really like where you're going. The art, like I said, I can't get over it. And everything looks amazing where it's going. And I really do hope that you hit that high mark and you get funded. And I think you have a very good shot at doing it. We've talked that there's going to be the other three basically core setting books. Is there going to be any future of like splat books, like a book for barbarians or a book for swashbucklers, or is that going to be contained in the setting, or do you not know yet?
I do not know. I'm pretty sure the earlier developers has a really great idea how to, make it more, exciting for the fans. But to be honest, I could easily imagine that in the future we'll come out with, like just special books. Right now, all the three book is together into one. But I think that would be a nice, idea for the future to have like one book on,
Whatever,
some
yeah,
adventures,
a setting,
whatever.
a world setting, or whatever it is, yeah. Because let's face it, you make money by producing more books, right? That's why WotC is so, D&D is so popular, because every quarter there's at least one new book that comes out, right? So the buying public is always buying stuff, and I think that's pivotal for the longevity of a company, and Atlas Rise or Die is a new company, and you guys, this is your new IP, and you're going to support it, and you're going to move it forward, and we want to see continual growth, right? We want to see, consumer products are just that, they get consumed, right? So you put out a 300, what's the rough page count of the book looking at right now? Is it like 300 pages?
I think we are more than 300, but I cannot give you an estimate.
Right. I thought I read something like it was around 360, but I wasn't.
So it depends. Yeah, it depends also on.
Stretch
I don't
goals?
want to spoil all the stretch goals, but
Right.
we have a couple of stretch goals which involves putting more adventures and more plots and stories. So it will highly rely on the stretch goals.
Right. So that's even better. But you put out a 300-page book, and people like me will read that in a week. And now they want the next book, which is not realistic. Let's face it. You can't, unless you're a huge company with huge financial backers. That's not something that's easily available to do. But do you see in the future, like maybe one new book every quarter, or like one new book every 6 months? I mean, what's the longevity of the project? Do you feel like this is going to be a setting that's going to keep evolving, and you're going to keep putting books out, maybe once or twice a year? I mean, do you know?
I feel like that could be possible, especially in the last couple of weeks before the Kickstarter. Our artist or our graphical designer's hand actually broke, and he was keep pushing drawing. He was like, guys, I have this amazing idea. I want to finish this drawing, and just finished it like 2 days before Kickstarter. So So we do this for you guys. If you guys love it, and we got so much feedback already, we will definitely keep continue doing it, and producing as much as we can. It also depends on how fast we can translate from our native. So
Right.
because we are not, but we can always just hire more people and help us develop that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think
I
it's a
will.
great idea.
I will say your level of communication has, for the company has been great because Nasser Super Beast is he's the closest thing to a moderator on my channel I have, and he's a really good friend. And he pointed out the Kickstarter to me, and I went, "Oh, I watched the video," and of course I read everything on the page, and I was like super excited. And so I was like, "Oh, I'm going to email these guys and see," So I emailed through the Kickstarter, and I think later on that day, I had a reply. They were like, "Yeah, Cyber is our American affiliate, and he'll be able to answer any questions. Just send him an invite to your Discord. We would love to get on the show." So, thanks to all your constituents out there and the guys in your group that were responsive and everything. 'Cause for a small little YouTube channel like mine, I'm just this talking head that babbles about shit, and some people like it, some people don't. But I find it that I have an opportunity to support games like this. Feral Games Inc. The guy Jay, he makes Ghost Ops, he makes The Ruin, he makes Delve. He's a prolific game designer, and he's a small guy. He's one guy producing all these games, and he does amazing work, and I don't feel that he gets enough exposure, and you guys are in that same boat. I think you're making some amazing game, and it needs more exposure. So if I can, in my little sphere of influence, I can do something to help that, then I should, right? Yeah. No, man. The tears should come from me because you're the guys doing all the hard work, and you've put together a really cool setting, and I really want to see it thrive. And so, I want the meanies to get out there and support this project if they can. Money's tight for everybody. This is, it's a hobby. I'm sure you can see the bookshelf behind me. That's all RPGs.
One of the things that just amazes us is that how much feedback we can get from backers and non-backers, and how much people actually appreciate what we do. Because when we started, I remember this is one of our story close to our heart, is that I wasn't even in the picture at that time. We had around 8,000 Facebook likes or followers, page likes, whatever it's called, and that was the point when one of the developers said that, guys, we are actually getting viewers and people are interested about this project. And that time he wasn't thinking about Kickstarter or bringing it to public yet. It was just something we were doing it for ourselves. And he was like, you know what, let's see where it goes. And we said if we reach 10,000, we'll make a Kickstarter, and we're actually gonna give distribute this to everyone who's interested. And we reached the 10,000 in 3 days from 8,000.
Wow.
And he was like, oh wow, this is amazing.
Wow.
And this is one of the things that always makes me laugh, is that there are hardcore fans. We have a fan who actually already made a real sword related to the game, one of a magical item from the game. And we are, I think, the only RPG in the entire world who already has its own sword made even before getting founded. So, you reaching out to us, other people reaching out to us, and backers having such a good feedback is something really close to our heart, and we appreciate. No matter what happens, no matter if we get funded or not, it's already worth doing the whole thing, and just get to know you guys.
And the cool part is the passion comes through. I can see how you're glowing, you're excited to talk about it, and that's just, it's really great. It's refreshing to see that, and you don't get that from some other game companies. They're just spitting out books to put out a book. And you don't see any passion behind it, and I won't name any companies or name Shadowrun. I'm talking about you. I won't point any fingers. But that's kind of the feeling you get, is they're just putting out a book to make money. And it's not a book that comes from the passion. And I'm a big fan of remember where you came from, your roots. We all started somewhere, right? We all, You're on the financial side, you're on the marketing side, but I'm sure you have some artistic talent in some way, shape, or form. I know you're a Twitch broadcaster, so you have talent innate of yourself, and so that comes through, and that excitement, it gets broadcasted, and it is infectious. It's the best disease you can get, is that creative juices that you see pour into a project, and you see the excitement that the developers, like the excitement that you speak with talking about the project, is infectious, and I want that to come across to the meanies out there and to everybody who views the channel. I will make sure this gets uploaded tonight, and it'll be ready, readily available for everybody to watch tomorrow. And you can feel free to share the link, and everything. I did, for everybody watching on my Discord, there's a link to the Kickstarter. We'll put a link to the Kickstarter in this video, down in the doobly-doo in the show notes. Anything, any tidbit, any nugget of insider information, you're only telling me. Nobody else is going to watch this. So anything you want to share with Mr. Mean that maybe nobody else knows? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
I have a dog.
Okay, let me rephrase the question.
Actually, let's talk about the project itself. So I know that you guys are, still just thinking of backing us or not because you feel like it might not get funded. But, one of the things that I think is a really, really good advantage of the backers is that besides the artwork bundle is that we're working so hard that whoever backs us and backs at least the PDF version of the book will definitely get that book even before it goes to the press. So if you're eager to play the game, and you got the hardcover or you're thinking of getting the hardcover, if you back us, we'll guarantee as soon as it's ready to give to press, you will get the manuscript and you will be able to play. And any other insider jokes or insider
what's your dog's name?
Comment? His name is Leo.
Leo.
From Leonardo. If he's mad or if he's bad, I call him Leonardo. But anyway, I don't know anything else. Well, let's see.
The PDF copy is big. I mean, so people can start playing it. So, it's not anything tangible. Obviously, it's just an electronic file.
I have to tell you, I can't imagine you as a PDF guy. I see all those books behind you. I just can't imagine you having an Atlas Rise or Die PDF and just, having it on your computer. I want to see it over the bookshelf somewhere at some point.
This is my my iPad Pro fully loaded with tons and tons of PDFs. So over 36 gigs of PDFs are on here, and that's just the stuff I'm currently looking at. So yeah, I have a file on my hard drive that's about 1 terabyte worth of PDFs. So yeah, but I'm a Dead Tree edition. I prefer a hardback book or a softback book. I also paint miniatures, as you can see from my mess on my table.
I did Warhammer for a long time.
Yeah, I'm a huge. I'm doing Necromunda right now and Warcry, and just waiting until we can get back into the game stores to play. Our local hobby shop here is the local scene here in Minnesota, in Duluth, is pretty abysmal. But I have a good friend, D-Train. Big props to him. Much love to my big little brother. He's like 6'6". He's a big dude. But he's a avid miniatures player, and we play Frostgrave, and we just got Stargrave, so we're going to be playing that. So yeah, we do miniature games here, and we also do a ton of role-playing games. One of the questions I did have, though, that just came to me, I should write these things down, but that would be too much like professional, and we're not about that here. What about VTT support, virtual tabletops? You mentioned Roll20. Are you going to be supporting Foundry?
Yeah, we were thinking about doing something like, making sure that people can put the whole thing into Roll20 and just use the bundle. And this is something that was suggested before from other people as well. So this is in development, and this is something that we definitely do in the future. We have a bunch of other things in the stretch goals. For example, I can spoiler it. I guess a couple won't hurt. Having a random name generator, having first of all, a character sheet that people can download, and it will also depend on how many stretch goals we reach. So random character generator through Dices, we already reached that stretch goal. A bunch of subclasses, amazing subclasses. We have a couple
tons
of
stuff.
That we still, tons of stuff, and I feel. The way that we got a lot of comments about, this looks like Conan the Barbarian. This looks like, this. And I personally think that we were inspired a bunch of 80s role-playing games and books, Conan the Barbarian, and The Cruel. We have Fire and Ice, Dark Crystal, and
those are all great things to mimic. I mean, to be honest, I take it as a compliment if someone says, this reminds me of Conan, because I mean, that's one of the most famous, barbarian movies or genre or IP of all times. Conan is more of a household name than D&D will ever be. So I don't take that as a negative at all. Fire and Ice, is one of the early animes, animated movies from Ralph Bakshi and those guys. So that to me is a huge compliment. And if that's what they get, that's the vibe they get, then I think you're doing something right. Maybe they don't understand what they're looking at, but those are all great IPs to draw upon, and I don't see anything wrong with being thought of in that same. Frank Franzetta's art is amazing for Conan, and Boris Vallejo's art is amazing. So if people look at your art, to me that's just a big compliment to your artist. If they're saying that art reminds them of, Boris Vallejo's Conan or Frank Franzetta's, Unholy Warrior or whatever, great. Yes, you get it, Start playing the game.
This is where the inspiration came. A lot of these books, actually, the Dark Crystals, the magical crystals also inspired the crystals in Atlas. We have alien races came from Atlas, also from, similar like from Cruel. So this is just the inspiration. What we want to do here is we want to do a vintage game, a sword and sorcery, which goes back to the basics, but also uses a bunch of rules that twist it together in a coherent new game that is something unique and exciting for players. And we wanted to get this cuteness away. We don't there sometimes in some recent RPGs it's just too much rules, too much. You have this and this, and you don't even know which one you want to pick because a lot of flavors.
I don't need a 6-page character sheet. I just need one page, maybe front and back, but front's okay. And let me play my character, right? And give me a cool.
If you can go back to the question or to your comment, actually, like you will never know if you will like Atlas Rise or that if you don't try it out,
exactly,
right? You just give it a try. If you don't like it, you don't like it. There's nothing wrong with that. But I wasn't even born when these movies came out. I'm a 94 actually, 94. So I'm a young puppy in this context. But I personally love the vintage sword and sorcery games. So I would definitely, guys, if I would be you, £2 $3 is nothing. You get all the artwork.
Yeah, can't beat that. You can't. That's almost free, almost free. And you don't really lose anything because you don't have to pay postage on that. It's all PDFs, right? You're going to get the PDFs of all the art, and you can use it in your VTTs. Yeah, you can use it in your VTTs of choice, whether it's Astral or Roll20 or Foundry. I'm a Foundry guy myself. Fantasy Grounds. I'm assuming you're going to have support for all the major VTTs. Christoph, it's Christoph, right? Or Christopher? Yes. Yeah, Christoph. Dude, your enthusiasm and exuberance is catching, to say the least. My heart's racing a mile a minute here. I'm super excited for the project. I don't want to keep you on too long because I know it's getting late and we're coming up on 40 minutes. Is there anything else you want to say about the Kickstarter? When's it end, actually? Can you give me the solid date?
Yes, it ends on June 24, 6 a.m. Eastern time. I believe it's Eastern.
So the 24th, I think, is Thursday, or is that Friday? That's Friday.
It's Thursday. It's a Friday evening. So it says June 24th, 6 a.m. EDT. So I'm not sure in your time or you got the viewers or listeners' time zone which is which, but I would say don't wait until Thursday midnight.
Back before. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. Here's the cool part. I've got viewers in Russia, in India, in Iran, in Pakistan, China. I think every major landmass I have a follower. So, and I only have 902 subscribers, but there's a lot of people that watch it, and they're all diehards. I have a really awesome Discord channel. We support gamers of all, any shape and size, ethnicity, religious beliefs, whatever. We don't have our gaming community is so cool that I don't need a moderator.
Yeah, I do like the fact that people are so diverse, and if I can just say one more thing before
sure, please.
Is that because I'm in the United States and the other guys are in Europe, we try to be always available for everyone. So usually we try to reply in less than an hour for every question.
You're on it, man. You're fast.
And we had a bunch of comments and suggestions. But please, guys, if you don't want to back the game, you just want to, check it out, we would appreciate any feedback. Like, we cannot improve if we don't have feedbacks. And we got an amazing number of comments, and, Instagram people reached out to us or found us on the website. But we need all the feedback we can get. So if you can just give a chance, glance through the artwork, read into it a little bit. And if you find something that, you want to ask,
ask
you can
it.
always, comment on Kickstarter, or, ask Mr. Mean, and then he will contact me.
I totally will, man. I got all your information now. You can't escape. But no, you've been awesome, man, and I appreciate everybody, over there, being so forthright and reaching out to me and saying, we'd love to, get Christoph on the channel. He's our American constituent, and it's just great, man. And like he said before we started, I want to belt him out. I want to call him out real quick. He told me, I said, you must get a lot of comments about your accent, and his reply was, "It's great to pick up chicks," which is. That's real, man. I love it. That's great. And there's nothing wrong with that, brother. Nothing wrong with that. That's awesome.
So, international backers, if you like my voice, please. No.
There you go, man. Unlike me, who has a face built for radio, Christoph is a handsome young man. So with that voice, that's awesome.
I have to say, we do give a lot for women in Atlas Rise or Die. So you can see a bunch of our artworks is, really, amazing heroes, female heroes, who are just badass characters. So we definitely don't discriminate, and we want to make sure that, if you are female or a male backer, if you're backing because of my voice or not because of my voice, just give a chance, give a try.
Yeah, so basically it's you're supporting everybody. So, and there's like I said, just go back the 2 pounds and get the art, man. You're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna love it. But if you love the art and you want a unique setting with what appears to be a really good set of rules, I'll know more when I get my copy, because you better believe there'll be a review coming when I get my my hard copy. As you can tell, I gotta have a hard copy. So and man, just all I can say is thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. You're so personable. And if you're even a tiny fraction of the representation of the love that's going into this game, we are in for a true treat, and that is something to truly be special and be grateful for. So we need more positivity in the world. We need more love, and so I want everybody to pour their love into Atlas Rise. Atlas Rise, and let's make this game happen, because I think it can, and I think you got an awesome product on your hands, and I look forward to seeing everything that you guys put up. So one last time, give a shout out. Do you guys have a website?
Yes, we do have a website. It's Old Mages Games. You can find it also on the Kickstarter.
Right.
And can we give a shout out to you as well? Because I'm pretty sure that there will be some listeners who are brand new to your channel, and we want to make sure that every contributors and every collaborators will get, what they deserve, is basically a space on our Kickstarter website that you guys can go and check out Mr. Mean amazing YouTube channel. Because, man, before I came to this podcast or YouTube interview, I listened to a couple amazing, and there was one that talked about how can you get resources for RPG games, and we love to reach out to new collaborators and make new friends, and I fairly enjoyed the entire interview, and I hope you guys can check out his website on our YouTube channel and listen a little bit into that, because it's amazing.
Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, I have fun doing it. I really do enjoy this, and like I said, I have an amazing Discord community. Pop on by, we talk. I'm on MeWe, which is a social media. I'm an anti-Facebooker just because I'm old and grumpy and I don't like Facebook. But that's just me. Everybody else, go check out these guys on Facebook. Check them out on their socials on Twitter. You guys are on Twitter?
We have an Instagram, we have a website, and we are too old-fashioned for Twitter, to be honest.
Good, because I think Twitter's a waste of time myself, but that's just me. Anybody who's using Twitter, good for you, man. It's just not my cup of tea. But yeah, let's get these guys over the hump. Let's get them funded so we can see some more cool stuff, and then maybe I can get Christoph back on the channel after the Kickstarter funds, and we can talk about the wild ride that it's been. and talk about, because I love talking pre and post Kickstarter, because a lot of people don't understand the blood, sweat, and tears that go into doing a Kickstarter. It's a lot of work. And
I cried. I broke every single night when I look at the numbers.
You cry yourself to sleep.
The first day I cried because we were doing so great, and then I cried because we were not, and then I did cry because I wasn't sure if it's good or not. So it's just stressful, but you just have to get over it.
Yeah, and you're watching that ticker, you're refreshing the page, and it is beyond stress. And then you have to deal with the publishing and the printing and the artist, and all the minutia that goes into running a company, and you're on that the media side of that, so you bear a lot of that brunt, because if things don't work right, they're coming to yell at you. So we want to make sure it's successful. Let's crash their Facebook page with likes, and just support this. It's a cool hobby. There's room for everybody, and I think these guys are making a cool game. We're gonna make sure we put all the links to everything in the show notes at the bottom. So this will go up live tonight. I'll render it, and I don't really edit much. We're pretty raw here. And Christoph, I just want to say, sir, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for spending this rough 45 minutes with me chatting about this passion project of yours. I think it's awesome, and I wish you all the best, sir. And anything you want to say to anybody other than what you've already said?
I just want to say thank you to you and to everyone who's listened to this interview. And you guys are the best, and this is why we do this entire project. If you weren't be here, you would not be able to get funded or put everything out that we want to. So we're doing it for you guys, and we are doing as much as we can. And we love you all. Stay safe, and check out our Kickstarter if you have a second, between two bathroom breaks. Thank you.
There you go. All right, guys. So a big shout out to Christoph and everybody at Atlas Rise of Fall, right? I always get the name wrong.
Rise or die. Hopefully rise or die. Rise.
Oh, yeah, we're planning on a rise. So go support them. We'll have links in the show notes. As always, peace and hair grease. Thanks for watching. I love you all. Stay safe. Wear your mask. That's right. Big fat fist pound. We're going to go ahead and end the video here. Again, thank you, Christoph, for spending some time with me. We're going to go ahead and end the video. Thanks, everybody, for watching.